Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben. As always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hello.
This week we conclude our epic JFK series with part 3, all the other conspiracies. Dun dun dun! Pretty much anyway, I think we've got most of them.
Yeah.
I felt like that needed a dum-dum-dum
Yeah.
moment. Sorry.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Let's thank some new returning listeners. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. YouTube is Apocalypse Bull. And we're on SoundCloud and Spotify and all your other podcasting platforms at Cutting to the Bull in the PTA. Right. Just a few cities to call out. Spring Valley in the US. Washington, I don't know if that's DC or not in the US. Rio de Janeiro. I like it. Exotic. Palma in Spain. New Westminster in Canada, Edinburgh in the UK, Frankfurt am Main, Germany, Daman in Saudi, Portugal in the UK, Brussels, Belgium,
US, Portugal.
What did I say? UK, yeah. Portugal in the US. Sorry, we had that many UK listeners this week. I think my brain was trying to subconsciously put it in. Dublin, Ireland, Walnut Creek in the US, Guadalajara, Spain, Tarpany, San Francisco, and Ashburn just down there below. Thanks very much for listening. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe, send us a message.
Thanks, yeah.
So right, let's run through all the other conspiracies we got, who might have done it, where they might have done it from, how things might have gone down. Potentially a new suspect as well.
Ooh.
We'll get to it.
No.
No. Well, unless you've got the Bigfoot evidence, Pete, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I've got it.
So we've done the accident theory. We did that last episode, listener. Go and check out part 1 and 2. Umbrella Man. If you notice in the Zapruder film, there is a man standing under a black umbrella on November 22nd, 1963. By all accounts, a very sunny day.
People use umbrellas to block the sun, don't they?
He
Yeah,
was obviously
get a bit of
ginger.
shade.
He could have been ginger. It's not known. The thing is, he opened the umbrella as JFK went past. A lot of people say there's two possibilities. One, it's the signal to shoot.
Yeah, signal man.
What,
Yeah.
shooting the umbrella, the old poison tip. James
That's
Bond
the other
style.
theory. Yes, that is the other theory. That the umbrella emitted some kind of bullet.
The penguin theory,
The
then.
penguin, exactly, the penguin
'Cause he
theory.
used to like his umbrellas that shot things, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I watched the cartoon once where it was a machine gun. It was fucking sweet. He like clipped a mag under it and started
Yes.
flatting away. The Umbrella Man, JFK, he was pointed out in the film JFK by Oliver Stone, well-known misinformation agent.
So you say. I think he's a very good filmmaker and a good documentary maker, myself.
Well, there are some things that he pushes. When he pushed Jim Garrison's magic bullet theory in JFK, he believed him quite quickly enough, didn't he?
That's a film, isn't it?
Oliver Stone made it.
Yeah, so.
It's one of the most plausible
It was at the time, but Jim Garrison didn't know what he was talking about.
ideas. Yeah.
I still blame the Warren Commission for that.
I think Jim Garrison's got a lot to say for it as well.
But they put it in the official.
They did. They got the
Report.
bollock, but he should have done the research.
Well, maybe so, but at the time it was.
No, they did the research.
Actually,
that was the report that was told they were told to write.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that film was massive at the time, and it brought it back into people's consciousness.
I'll give you that. It brought it back into the public consciousness. Now, unfortunately, Umbrella Man has been recognised. It's a guy, we don't know who it is, it's a guy called Louis Stephen Witt, allegedly. And he said it was a protest. Apparently this is a thing, right, a very old thing and a very obscure thing, but a thing nonetheless. That as, if you're protesting against a politician, you want to stand up with a sign or hurl obscenities, you'll stand up and you'll open your umbrella like a gentleman.
Ah.
Okay.
And that's just a form of protest.
And it's a form of protest. This particular form of protest was against the appeasement policies of Joseph P. Kennedy when he was ambassador to the court of St. James. It's obviously the US ambassador to the UK.
Oh, hello, Chester.
and a reference to British PM Neville Chamberlain's umbrella and the appeasement of Hitler and the Nazis.
Right.
Or
I don't think Chester agrees with that.
Or
No.
he was shooting a poison dart, or he was giving the signal for the gunman on the grassy knoll to open fire.
Signal's
or-
the most likely one.
Or it was just a hot day and he had an umbrella.
He could have just been ginger and he didn't like the sun.
That's also a valid point.
Or bald. He didn't like the sun.
Well, he could wear a hat. Hats were de-fashion back then. They were Depeche Mode.
I'd say ginger would be most likely because back your neck, all that kind of thing, you know.
Well, either way, Umbrella Man.
We got any pictures of this guy?
He's in the Zapruder film. You can see him clearly.
You can't see his hair.
No.
You can't see whether he's ginger or not.
What about if Coca-Cola? Oh, no, actually, that's a crap one. Skip that.
Oh, no.
I read it
I
earlier
want
and
this
it's
I want to hear this brief summarise of it.
Shooter Lee Harvey Oswald was a Dr Pepper fan, and we know that as a fact because it's even Oswald's favourite beverage is part of the intrigue. In Conspiracy of One, 1990, author Jim Moore sets out a theory that Oswald acted alone because after the assassination, Oswald was seen in a Texas book depository drinking Coca-Cola instead of his beloved Dr Pepper. Moore believes in only one realistic explanation. He must have shot the president and chose the wrong soft drink from the vending machine because he was nervous.
Oh, for fuck's
What?
sake.
Or he just fancied a Coke.
Or the Dr Pepper was out.
Yeah. He did actually drink a can of Coke, though. That is a fact. He asked someone for change to buy the Coke.
Well, that's ridiculous.
That
Yeah,
is.
that
The fact
is-
someone got a book out of that is
I
fantastic.
know, yeah.
That really is pulling at strings, isn't it?
Just a bit.
Hey, 2,000 books on this subject.
I was about to say, was that Woody Harrelson?
Yes.
And yes, it was.
Yes, Woody Harrelson's dad was a hitman. That is a fact.
Cool.
Ooh.
Oh, right, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a hitman. He was arrested for it.
Mm.
He used to have calling cards saying professional assassin on them.
Ah,
Genuinely business cards. Which, let's face it, is probably one of the coolest business cards you could own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Assassin.
professional assassin.
Hmm.
You know, all the times I've seen assassin spelled out this week and I still can't fucking spell it.
I take it his dad is no longer with us. He's
I do not believe
doing,
he is now.
doing hard time for a very long time.
Yeah. Was Texas-born Charles Harrison, father of actor Woody Harrelson, really the killer? The man on the grassy knoll in the book claims Harrelson Sr. was one of the two gunmen and he was later arrested dressed as a tramp in Dealey Plaza. Dallas police eventually named three other men as the tramps. That's the thing, some tramps were there hanging around. Some of them were arrested, some of them fucked off on some railway lines. There's a theory that one of the shooters could have quite been plausibly dressed as a tramp and just hopped on a train and got out of town.
Yeah. Why was Harrelson Sr. dressed as a tramp? If he didn't do it, what was he doing there as a tramp?
Well, yeah.
It's a good
Bit
point.
odd, isn't it?
It's a good point.
Unless times are hard in the professional assassin business.
And just happened to be in Dallas that day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. It is a plausible theory that, should
Yeah.
you want a professional assassin, you may well hire Charles Harrison. I'd imagine the market is not that big.
Early 60s.
So there is the possibility that Woody Harrelson's dad shot JFK.
However,
In 1968, he was convicted of murdering a businessman in a contract hit in South Texas.
what's the however bit?
However, just,
Oh, right.
you know,
I thought there was going to be something underneath it to say, like, however, we've discovered that. No, god damn.
no, just the fact that he's known to be a professional hitman and he could have been there. He's born in Texas. Could have been dressed as a tramp that day.
Well, we know who was on
Could have been
the
dressed as a
grassy
Secret Service agent and been
That's
badged man.
ringing alarm bells to me. What is he doing dressed as a tramp?
knoll. Well, we know who was on the grassy knoll, don't we? It was JFK from the future.
Oh,
Yeah, we said that.
3 years into
That's
the
right.
future.
Mm.
And he was dressed as the copper,
Hmm.
also holding.
He was badge man.
And he was also. Did you like
He-
how he was actually
holding an
using an
AR-15?
AR-15?
Yeah.
That's what they.
But in this case, you'd have had an exit wound to the back, so it can't have been JFK with an M16 on the grassy, AR-15 on the grassy knoll.
No, but there seems to be a bit of extra knowledge in there that isn't the true account. Let's face it, because that AR-15 isn't anywhere near the murder weapon to the true account, yeah? To the one that's been written.
Oh, the Warren Commission.
The Warren Commission.
Yeah,
that's
Warren
the
Commission
word.
says all 3 shots came from the
Precisely.
Oswald's Marcani Carbini rifle.
But yeah, I liked how they did...
Carcano rifle, sorry.
It was kind of funny how they did a little play on that, because a normal copper would not have had one of them.
No, he wouldn't. It was a brand new weapon. Yeah.
So, the fact that they gave him one of them in that sketch on Red Dwarf, I thought that was quite... I noticed that. Saw that it's only like the muzzle you see of it, but it's like straight away recognisable.
The first thing I saw, and I thought, I wonder if JFK's a good enough shot to hit himself in the head at that distance with iron sights. Yeah, when was the last time he shot? It's taking a big risk getting JFK to do it.
I think it was him.
You think it was Woody Harrelson's dad now?
Has that one just turned you?
Yeah, just makes.
I know what you mean.
Extremely odd.
But when was he seen as a tramp then?
On the day Dee Dee Plodge was arrested.
Okay, he was arrested that day. Oh, right. Okay. Like you said, well, yeah, like you said. Why? Presuming he would probably be quite well off being an assassin.
They usually are, aren't they?
I'm thinking of like the Iceman, things like that. That wasn't far off that kind of time in the world, was it?
Richard Kuklinski.
Yeah.
1980s.
It was a bit later on, but you know what I mean. It wasn't. It was within 20 years of that.
Late 70s, 80s.
Yeah. So
he was literally the guy that did it with the ice pick, wasn't he? Back of the skull.
Oof.
Called him the Iceman because he was just like, hey, I think his name was Richie. Go kill this guy. Yeah, okay.
no women.
No emotion about it at all.
He wouldn't kill women or children. No, he wouldn't touch a woman or a child.
No, but he beat his own wife, but never his children. Weird.
Great film if you've never watched it. Iceman.
Who's the
True story.
based on?
Well, yeah. Well, I've watched a documentary on the true accounts with him actually being interviewed, and what happened in that film. Everything happened pretty much. It was maybe sexed up a little bit.
In the interview, you can tell when he's getting pissed off, and there's something he's doing because he go, I don't have the microphone. I'll pick this up, bro.
He'd
Just flick his tongue cheek to cheek, and that was a sign that he was getting pissed off. Apparently,
very dangerous.
He does it in the interview as well, and the interviewer has to take a sort of step back from the questioning.
Yeah. Really interesting watch if you ever need to watch anything like
We'll
that.
do that as an episode one day, actually, the Iceman.
Definitely.
The Better Call Saul theory. In an appointment in Dallas, police officer Hugh McDonald blames the Soviets for contacting, quote, Saul, a rogue CIA agent and assassin. That's also not a bad thing to have on your fucking business card, is it? Rogue CIA agent.
I don't know whether you'd have you wouldn't have the rogue CIA agent.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say Saul. What's your name? Now, apparently, McDonald freelanced with the CIA and met Saul at the agency's HQ. He later tracked him down to obtain a confession, but not appears an arrest warrant. Saul apparently shot JFK from a building across the street from Oswald's perch in the Texas School Book Depository. So he was across the street. If true, did he conspire with Oswald, or did 2 men just happen to assassinate the president at the same time? This one's very thin.
Very, very thin.
But, CIA may as well have a hand in it. Whether the Soviets decided they were going to do it or not is a different matter. So, yeah, was it 2 guys or was it 2 CIA agents? There's the other option.
Well, I definitely think the CIA were involved myself.
In some way. Black Dog Man.
Dogmen killed JFK. In the killing of a president, Robert Groden argues that a black dog man figure can be seen in a pyracantha bush in frame 413 of the Zapruder film. However, the problem with the theory is that the House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded that an individual was in front of the bushes, not behind them, but they would say that, wouldn't they? The Warren Commission's got a lot wrong. Who's to say there wasn't a black dog man?
Now, if JFK's throat was ripped out, then I might go for this, but it wasn't. It was a headshot. The fucking dog man did it with a fucking rifle.
The dog man did it with a rifle.
What a ridiculous fucking thing.
There's books written about this. 2,000 books written on the assassination of JFK. And someone's got a book out of a dog man killing him. And what was the other ludicrous one?
The Coca-Cola Dr Pepper.
Coca. Oh, he was guilty because he didn't drink his Dr Pepper.
How ridiculous.
You know, we've got to explore everything, guys. So we're practically journalists. We've got to be balanced.
Look at all the conspiracies.
Exactly. Yes, Oswald's Mexican trip is linked to the shooting. Oswald tried to get out of the US and back to Russia. He went to visit the Russian embassy in Mexico. And they were like, can I please come back? Or at least go to Cuba. And they were like, no. No, you can't. Sorry, comrade. He visited the Cuban and Russian embassies on a 6-day trip. The funny thing is that trip he spoke no Spanish. So he was just like, he's pointing at stuff on a menu and they were just bringing him loads of it. And he was just like, having to pay for it all. He didn't know what anything was. Because he didn't know what anything was. He was just like,
So he didn't know what he was ordering?
Nope, I had no idea. And
They'd bring it out, he'd be like,
and they burnt through all, and he spent all his money doing that.
Idiot.
He was an idiot, that's the thing. He really was. 3 of those days may have been spent with pro-Castro groups, seemingly confirmed by journalist Oscar Cuatrez Lartargue in the conversation which he had with Fidel Castro. However, the journalist lived far away at the time and he wasn't in a position to know who Oswald was with. But he did have a conversation with Castro. And according to him, when the news came, he was having a conversation with Castro at the time JFK was shot. And Castro apparently, according to this French journalist, put his head in his hands and said, this is bad, very bad. And I don't see Castro's actual... Because he saw Kennedy as a man he could talk to. And maybe thought, you know, no one wants this embargo and this tension. Well, the military-industrial complex does, but Castro certainly doesn't.
JFK
he was his best chance.
Improve relations with Cuba, didn't he?
He was his best chance, definitely. Castro's best chance.
Better so than LBJ.
Yeah, and any predecessor and.
Well, look at it this way: if Kennedy doesn't get shot, and him and Castro start a dialogue, maybe that Marxism thing goes away with U.S. money, and you end up having a capitalist Cuba. You know, which is a lot better than having a communist one for the US, off 90 miles off your coast. If you can turn them into an ally without invading them, that's fantastic.
Well, that's how it used to be.
Maybe that would have happened.
Exploiting them, didn't they?
Maybe that's why Castro was a bit like, oh shit, that's not good.
Yeah, because he knows he's got an embargo. I mean, that's why in Cuba nowadays, like, you're still seeing like 1950s American cars driving around, lovingly kept in service, because
they have no choice.
They've got no choice. Nothing else is coming in.
We can't send them our cars.
You know what? That's what we should do. Even they'd have a rover. The CIA.
This is a biggie, though, really, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. Because as much as I love accidentally shot in the back of the head theory, if you ask me to say, hey, Ben, if JFK wasn't shot in the back of the head by his own security detail by accident, who do you think did it? I'd be like, CIA.
That's why I don't think it was an accident, because I think the CIA were involved. I'm not letting them get off the hook.
I thought that for a while, to be fair, because I just remember the whole black flags things and the black flagging. False flagging, not black flagging. The false flagging.
No, black flagging's when you're a pirate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when they wanted to turn him into a pirate, like, and he was like, no, I'm not being a pirate.
I'm not being a pirate.
I can't be a pirate. I haven't got the right kind of voice.
You definitely haven't. Hey, I'm not being a fucking pirate, you moron.
He did sound a bit like a Dalek, didn't he?
There was a, yeah.
There's a Dalek undertone to his voice, isn't there?
I will exterminate.
Wait, hang on. Do you think he was a Dalek?
Oh, is that?
And his assassination actually was a good thing.
It was Doctor Who. Oh my God, we've just figured it out.
As obviously Oswald was one of the Doctor's assistants.
Yeah, he was Billy Piper.
I'd rather have Billy Piper, but you're right, fair enough.
Wasn't Kylie one of his assistants at one point?
I have no idea.
Maybe he was Kylie.
I don't think she was.
Oh, she must have been in it though.
I have no idea. Weirdly, one of the few British sci-fis I've never really watched is Doctor Who.
I did as a kid, but none of the new ones.
Yeah, I did as a kid, yeah.
None of the new ones.
Never really got into it.
The past
I've never
20
ever
years
watched
ones,
many.
I've not watched.
No,
any of
neither have
them.
I. No lightsabers. That's your problem.
That's it, yeah.
So when America's most trusted broadcaster, Walter Cronkite, announced JFK's death, the world was in shock. Everyone remembers what they were doing when JFK got shot, but what were the CIA doing? Well, Dave Perry,
A lot.
Dropping the ball.
a former yes, he was a former insurance claims adjuster, has been digging through JFK assassination records since 1976, and may have pointed out that the CIA may have had Oswald on the payroll.
Yeah, that's what we all.
That's what we. I
Sort
mean,
of think,
they
isn't it?
won't. Yeah, they won't release his tax return. There you go. Why not? It's clearly something on there they don't want everyone to see. Or overheard Oswald plotting with the Soviets at their embassy in Mexico. Does he have any proof though? No. But what can you say? The CIA. We all know the CIA. Yeah, they're up there, aren't they? They're in top 3 of candidates.
I go back to the
Number one,
point
for
I
me.
was trying to make about the false flagging. Things like that. He didn't go for any shit like that, did he?
Well, he did. He did the Bay of Pigs, didn't he? And
That was the only one, but he wasn't going to kill his own people and things like they
He wasn't
going
going to do Operation Northwoods, was
No.
he?
He
He
wa-
was like, get the fuck out of my office, you idiots.
Well, this is it, and I always made when we were doing that episode, that made me think at the time, like,
he
well,
was
that would give them a definite reason to want to get rid of him. And then we joked and said about how, like, future presidents, like, it's always like, right, you're president now, come into this room,
Yeah.
watch this small video we've got,
Yeah, you're gonna do what we say.
do what we say, or remember JFK?
The CIA, well, basically Kennedy didn't like the CIA. He hated them after the Bay of Pigs because they told him it was going to work and it fell flat on its face.
And he wanted to smash it into oblivion, didn't he?
He did. He wanted to basically smash it apart, reform it. Over the next, I think by 65, he wanted to have cut their budget by something like 20%, which doesn't sound a lot, but it is a lot. He wanted to basically just phase them out.
Motive there for me. They wanted him out the way.
Well,
You
this is
stopping
it.
them doing the stuff that they wanted to do.
The motives are there.
Yeah,
CIA,
absolutely.
It's not the first time they've bumped off presidents.
it wouldn't be surprising in anybody's eyes, would it? Let's face it.
Well,
They've got
it's effectively a
Fucking
coup,
track-
isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a track record of it. Fucking about in countries' elections. And
If it is the CIA, then they've committed an American coup. Because they've assassinated a president
Yep.
and put LBJ in, who they know will do what they say.
Yeah.
So they've committed a
Yeah.
coup, just like they did
A
in...
silent one, though.
Yeah.
just like they've done in several countries since the 1960s and before.
Yeah.
You know?
Caesar. You go back to fucking Julius Caesar.
I don't think the CIA assassinated Caesar.
No, but there's always somebody else that doesn't like what's happening at the time. They'll just go in, fucking assassinate him. The next person can then go in. The person that will be bent to their will, etc., etc.
He's already taken the
And
shilling.
that's what my point is. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Except now we've got a name for them, and it's the CIA. And I don't know what. Maybe we've got similar things. Royal family. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
MI5, MI6.
MI6.
But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? We've every country's got their secret organisations that do things a little bit more underhanded than they should.
Mossad, you know,
KGB,
KGB, Beijing, yeah.
triads, and you because even like the
Unaccountable bodies that can pretty much do what they want outside the law.
Taliban.
Yeah.
Unaccountable.
Taliban is a prime example of that. They're not an official law, but yet they are treated as a law in many places. They own a fucking country of their own now,
Oh, I suppose they have to have embassies, don't they?
run by all of themselves.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if anyone's got motive, it's the CIA.
Yeah.
Claire,
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that.
what about the Illuminati?
It's part of it, part of the CIA, I reckon. It's all kind of, they're all interlocked and interjoined. The CIA are probably the Illuminati's puppets.
But yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Well, as the theory goes, JFK delegated presidential power to issue silver certificates to the Treasury, which threatened the power of the Illuminati-controlled Federal Reserve of gold.
Ooh.
In fact, he signed an executive order to do the opposite and intended to phase
Yeah.
out silver certificates, But, you know, why ruin a good conspiracy theory?
It's not true, is it?
Maybe there's other reasons. You know, what? We just said the Illuminati are basically the CIA, or
If it is what we're not led to believe, what people that like to think outside of the box believe, they're in control of the CIA. Pretty obviously, isn't it?
let's
really?
face it.
Deep state and they work together.
Yeah.
there's a lot of misinformation as regards the Kennedy assassination, isn't there?
Fuck us so much.
So, you
Well,
know,
that gets from the ground up, isn't it? Some people heard 5 shots, some people heard 3, some people
Yeah.
heard 2. You know,
Yeah.
and it just carries on and snowballs, doesn't it? This misinformation, and then it was bodged together in that investigation, wasn't it?
the Warren Commission, yeah. Is this right? Well, it wouldn't be a Quentin to the Ball episode of the aliens, would it?
Oh.
And I thought the number 1 was going to be the Blob Squatch.
No, you had a Dogman instead.
Well, that's good enough for me, because Sasquatch and Dogman are often confused. I was right, yes!
Well, like I say, it wouldn't be a Quentin to the Ball episode without an alien. And this
No.
episode is no fucking different, people.
Yes.
Milton William Cooper, Bill Cooper, father of modern day conspiracy theory, wrote the book Behold a Pale Horse. A former US radio personality and ex-Navy, high-ranking Navy intelligence officer apparently, and gun rights advocate and author, spread the news about Project Luna, a secret alien base on the dark side of the moon. Furthermore, he promoted the conspiracy theory that JFK was assassinated by a gas pressure device that aliens supplied to the driver of the presidential limo because JFK was about to expose Washington alien collusion with Through the Looking Glass people.
What year was Eisenhower?
50... The meeting, 50 or 55, 56, something like
I
that.
couldn't
The
think whether
meeting with the aliens.
before, yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 50s, yeah, definitely.
Well, you know, if these different conspiracies could all line up and go in tandem and become one, obviously you've got the fact that there
Then it would
have
be a
been...
fucking tangled web, wouldn't it? Jesus.
Well, yeah.
Look at my bedroom in the middle.
Tangled web you weave.
But
Look at my spare room at the moment with all that red string everywhere and pictures and me writing on the walls. I mean, not that I've got in, no, I mean, it's fine, honestly.
But you know what I mean? Like, so you've got the supposed meetings with US presidents. US presidents also turning them down for what they're proposing, because they're proposing things like give up all your nuclear arms and we'll give you this.
No, that was the Nordics, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They
but
went with the Greys instead.
I'm just going as a general.
Never
there's
go
lots
with the
of-
greys.
There's lots of different examples of these different encounters with like US presidents and other members of state and things like that. Yeah.
Majestic 12.
So you've
Of
got
course.
goes back as far as in the 40s with your fucking
Nazi UFOs.
Roswell and Roswell. And
Oh,
things
Roswell,
like
yeah.
that. So
47.
you could line it all up and say, all right, the aliens have come. They've seen the presidents and said, look, get rid of your nukes. Blah 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 blah. There's lots of different things they're offering them. We never seem to take the offer. Now they've gone, right, you fuckers, we'll kill the president. So then they've come back down here and gone, well, he's a different person. So he's still the president.
What
Yeah,
if?
kill him anyway.
What if Kennedy was going to reject the treaty with the Greys and go with the Nordics?
You never know. Yeah.
Apparently there is evidence that JFK did want all the files on UFOs. He did request it.
Well, there you go. He
But apparently that was so because the Soviets were seeing things in their airspace that they thought might be US planes, and he wanted to assure the Soviets that it wasn't him, wasn't the US, so he didn't start a nuclear war. Yeah, so he did ask for them apparently.
But you know what I mean. So it's not an out of the question theory if you go along with lots of different
There's
conspiracies.
a lot of things
all
you've
in
got to
one.
believe, though, isn't there?
That's what I mean. There's a lot of different conspiracies you have to line up and believe in to believe that. But
It's a rabbit hole that you have to go down.
it's a plausible one.
Aliens.
in a sense.
Well, you know what, Pete? If it's not the CIA or an accidental discharge, I'm going with the aliens. It's number 3 for me.
I'm with you.
The mob.
Well,
Kennedys are no strangers to organised crime. His dad may have dabbled a little bit with some bootlegging. Some believe the mafia helped JFK steal the election by securing votes in the key state of Illinois. But that's another conspiracy theory for another time.
No.
However, another conspiracy theory has the political dynasty at odds with the mob. The theory hinges on the fact that Kennedy was unsuccessful in overthrowing Fidel Castro in Cuba, meaning the mafia-run casinos on the island remained shut down, and that his brother, Robert Kennedy, was cracking down on the mob in his role as Attorney General, pursuing a case against Jimmy Hoffa, New York gangster, New York mob leader.
Was he? I
Oh,
thought
was he a
was
union
boss.
Union boss, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was in
Same
with the
difference.
mob. He's in New York. He might as well be the same.
But that is the
He's-
same difference,
Yeah, I'm a
isn't it?
union guy.
Yeah.
As we all say. He's in the
Especially-
Sopranos.
especially-
Tony was a union guy.
Especially in them days. Like
Yeah.
unions, we've all watched fucking Peaky Blinders.
Well, true.
Unions weren't a nice thing. They could get a bit bloodthirsty if they wanted.
They weren't
couldn't
perfect, but they're still the best thing we've got.
Well, they hit their peak in the 50s in America. That's when they got like really good deals for everybody, basically. And
Yeah.
after that, it just kind of the mob infiltrated it clearly.
No, the right smashed it. The rich
Yeah.
just got rid of it.
Makes you wonder how they got
Well-
those good deals, though, eh?
It's worth pointing out that when Robert Kennedy became district attorney, mob arrests went up by 800%. So they were going after them.
So instead, they had only arrested one the year before, and they managed to arrest 8 that year. That could be as simple as that, couldn't it? Though sounds really impressive, but in reality, it's not.
Well, according to biographer Evan Roberts, who did Robert Kennedy's biography, I assume, he had a fear that he'd somehow gotten his own brother killed, that Robert Kennedy's attempts to prosecute the mob and to kill Castro had backfired in some terrible way and blown back, as the intelligence folks say. Bobby thought he'd be killed, not his brother, and now he had this daunting, horrible realisation or fear that all of his attempts to get the mob and to get Castro have in some terrible way blown up and come back to haunt his family and resulted in the death of the president, his brother. Well, yeah, it's possibly the mob did it, and let's face it, if anyone knows a professional assassin who could dress as a tramp, it'll be the mob. Maybe Woody Harrelson's dad took that contract too.
Maybe he did.
I've heard tales of another mob hitman who... This is if you believe they found a case on the grassy, not a shell case on the grassy knoll for a bullet. Apparently there was a mob hitman who always used to bite the shell casing, leave it at the scene as a bit of a calling card. And if you believe what people say about that, then they found the shell casing with a sort of tooth imprint in it, left at the grassy knoll, behind the
Risky,
fence.
innit? Like putting your tooth print in it.
I guess if you've never been to
Not
the
in them
dentist,
days.
maybe he's got strong Italian teeth.
Not so much in them days, though.
I'm
Either,
not talking
really.
about breaking your teeth. I'm talking about, you know, it's good. If you put a few of these about, they can mould your teeth and sit, you know.
Yeah, well, he's never been to the dentist because he's got proud Italian teeth.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's never had to go. Who's to say? That's hearsay. That's not a well-known story, but it's one I'd heard when I was doing my red stringing together in my room.
Is it set to blow up if anybody goes in there?
There is a grenade attached to the door. Yeah.
I don't think he's actually lying. I don't think he's joking. I think there is in his spare room.
He's got the key in
He's
there.
got it all like.
He's got it all. He's worked it out.
It's like an old episode of the Crystal Maze times 10.
Right, the Krypton factor at this rate.
Oh, Krypton Factor.
No, if you think
That's an old reference.
It's Always
Love
Sunny
that.
in Philadelphia when Charlie and Mac get the job in the post room, and Charlie's convinced that there's no bloke with a certain name, even though Charlie can't read, and it's actually something like accounts division, and he's reading it as like Carlos Devry or something like that. Anyway, well,
Tangent.
what about the government?
Well, that's all part of the CIA, innit? We've already done this, really, haven't we?
Yeah, the fact that LBJ was like really up for it as well. He hated Kennedy.
The fact that the way he took the throne, so to speak, yeah. The way he fucking literally swore him in like the way they did it. It was just very.
Oh yeah,
He
within
didn't
2
look
hours.
sad whatsoever.
No, within
at
2
any
hours,
point.
the guy's president, with the Kennedys, with Jackie Kennedy stood next to him, in a blood-splattered pink dress, shell-shocked out of her mind. I mean, that's not something as a sensitive person you do, is it? So, if you had any respect for your president there, and supposedly your friend, because you'd think that having, being friends would help you run the country better.
Well, he was the vice president for how long?
But, he was Kennedy's vice president. That was it. So he'd been for 2 years.
1,000 odd
3
days,
years.
whatever it
3
was.
years.
Yes, that's what I mean. So he's bound to have some friendship with him.
You'd think that, but no. Well, choosing to run
Clearly
together in the first place,
Mm.
That isn't decided by them, really, is it?
Well, I think there's political deals cut, isn't
Yeah.
there? Would you be willing to, if I get to be vice president, I'll do whatever. Maybe one day that son of a bitch will die.
There's party hierarchy as well, isn't there?
I mean, if you think about it, if Kennedy had lived and LBJ had broke the ticket, you can guarantee that Bobby Kennedy would have ran with JFK. And then you could have potentially ended up with like 16 years of Kennedys, because Bobby would have obviously taken over after JFK, and hugely successful, hugely popular family, politicians,
Bit like Bush.
policies.
It's the only reason Bush Jr. got in.
You'd have had a dynasty like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, JFK Jr. is running now. He was on the Democratic ticket, but I think is it JFK or Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
I think. I can't
Not
remember.
very imaginative with names, that family.
I think
are
it's
they?
because you've got such legacies. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember which. I can't remember. It's one of the Kennedy guys.
It's Robert Kennedy's
Robert Kennedy's son is running. Yeah, he's gone as an independent now. I think,
Mm.
which means he probably won't get in. But then again, never underestimate a Kennedy in the US political scene. They're still a very popular bunch.
Till they get assassinated. They all do.
They all die in mysterious ways, the Kennedys. John F. Kennedy's son died in a plane crash that was a bit iffy. He was piloting the plane. He was flying it over to their little island home in the Florida Keys, flying the private plane. Only a little propeller thing. Much like the same thing that footballer had, who crashed in the channel. And that was a bit of an iffy crash. So there's still some questions asked about that.
Robert Kennedy was assassinated, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was killed. I can't remember who killed him now. Is it the mob?
Not sure.
Someone killed him anyway. Yeah, the Curse of the Kennedys. It's called. They are Irish after all.
So Bobby got assassinated as well?
Yeah.
68, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't that. He was about to announce a run for president and got shot. Alright, new one. A non-old one. Donald Trump. During the 2016 presidential election, then candidate Trump implied that his fellow Republican candidate Ted Cruz's father was a known associate of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Who? Trump?
Yeah. No, Lee.
Don't you remember this?
Ted Cruz's dad was an associate of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
His father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald being, shot, Trump said on Fox News during a phone interview. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. What is this, right? Prior to his being shot, and nobody ever brings it up? I mean, they don't even talk about that. That was reported and no one talks about it.
No one talks about it a lot in this thing.
That's true.
Let's not talk about it.
I'm going to try... Alright, hang on. I've just read Trump out, so I have to say China. Sorry. It's just the reaction I have when I hear Donald Trump, a Trump quote. Even after he beat Cruz out of the nomination, Trump kept calling attention to his claim. He said, "All I did is point out the fact that on the cover of the National Enquirer there's a picture of him, Rafael Cruz, and crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast," Trump said while giving remarks in Cleveland, Ohio. Don't know why Trump references the National Enquirer as a reputable news source, although it could be something to do with the fact that Trump's good friend David Pecker owns the tabloid. National Enquirer is a bit like the Weekly World News, isn't it? It's like Bigfoot seen having sex with JFK kind of thing. I bet people watch that.
Bobby Kennedy was killed by a Palestinian. Sihran.
And peace-loving guys.
24-year-old Palestinian.
What year was that?
Allegedly in retaliation for the support of Israel following the 1967 Six-Day War. This was on June the 5th? Yeah, June the 5th, 1968.
I was right, 68.
Yeah, 68.
So he only got 5 years more than his brother then.
Yeah.
You know.
Shocking, eh? America could have been a very different country.
Yeah.
Alright, we're moving into the last few now. My God, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this. David Ferry, Shortly after JFK's assassination, an investigation began in New Orleans under the leadership of New Orleans District Attorney Jim Garrison, because we met him before in this tale.
Isn't he the guy that turned into a woman and turned back into a guy?
No, that's Mr. Well, I suppose it is Mr. Garrison, technically, yeah.
Yeah, then.
Now, according to Garrison's investigation, David Ferry was to be the getaway ride for Lee Harvey Oswald to get out of Dallas. Garrison also implicated New Orleans businessman Clay Bertrand and private investigator Guy Bannister to be involved in the conspiracy to take out JFK.
Clay Shaw.
Clay Shaw. I said Clay Shaw.
You said cliche.
Oh, sorry. Cliche. In 1967, Ferry was found dead in his home just days after Garrison's investigation was linked to the New Orleans press. There's an odd one, isn't it?
Sounds plausible to me.
Well, it's strange that he's just dead.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, oh, they're going to release a thing. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So let's stop him blabbing.
That's what normally happens, isn't it?
Yep. That's usually the way.
Oh, was that the Umbrella Man, was it?
Yes, yeah.
It's the first time I've actually seen the Umbrella Man. Yeah, that's a protest.
He's wearing a bowler hat as well. Look at
That's a protest. He's definitely ginger as well. He's doing a ginger protest.
E. Howard Hunt. E. Howard Hunt, most notably playing a large role in the Watergate scandal. That's where Nixon got grassed up for planting tapes and evidence and stuff. They got it at the Watergate Hotel, didn't they?
They're recording the political rivals, aren't they?
That's right, yeah, in the hotel. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Very
someday.
paranoid he became, didn't he?
Nixon, he did become very paranoid, yeah.
There's a great story. They're protesting, probably about the Vietnam War. But they're outside the gates of the White House. I don't think you can get there now. I don't know. I think
I think you still can.
Anyway, they're all outside protesting. And he runs down, hides in the basement. He's like, they're coming for me, they're going to get me, they're going to fucking kill me.
Did you go down to the war room?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that wasn't built then.
He hid in the basement anyway. He hid in the basement because he was scared that they were going to come and kill him.
I bet it was a bomb shelter still, though.
That's where you always want your leaders.
Hiding in the cellar.
No, but afraid that the people are going to get rid of them if they fuck up. That's the way it should be, isn't it?
Government should not be afraid of... Sorry, people should not be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid of their people.
Yep.
It's very true. So they should.
What's that country where the politicians, they get them and they put them in the bin outside? I saw that on a...
No, it sounds good. We should adopt it.
I always remember the old song, Margaret Thatcher, stick her in a bin, put the lid on and sellotape her in. If she pops out, hit her on the head. Hallelujah, Margaret Thatcher's dead.
I never heard that.
That would have been 1989.
Whenever she's brought the poll tax in, then.
No, it'd have been 89, I think,
You
when
were
she
singing
was
that when you were 6?
when she was being re-elected. Yeah, it was like a rhyme that was going around.
Nursery
Not a
rhyme.
nursery rhyme. I almost said nursery rhyme. It's a nursery rhyme. No, it was a rhyme that was going around the school when I was a kid, and I just remember it really clearly. And it was when she was running against the one that I always thought looked a little bit like Superman. No,
Christ, I was...
he looked a little bit like Christopher Reed. What's his name?
I don't know, but
Glasses.
we need to get on with the hour done.
I just say, I loved it when Margaret Thatcher died. And
That's
well,
a
I
bit
loved
harsh.
that anyway, yeah. And the fact that...
Man, you're a pacifist.
That's a bit harsh.
I don't want a death parade, but I was happy when Margaret Thatcher died.
I was just reciting a rhyme from when I was 7.
And they bought, and everyone started buying Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead from Wizard of Oz, and it got to number 1 or number 2.
The BBC wouldn't play it, would they?
BBC wouldn't play it.
Of course they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, we're done, on the other hand.
You gotta love the British humour sometimes, don't you?
You have. Yeah.
We're class.
Yeah, we're done then, yeah.
Yeah.
This cunt, go on.
Howard couldn't. According to these theories, Hunt was working with the Soviets to take drastic measures to discredit the CIA in the United States. Although its authenticity is questioned, Hunt's sons provided a recording of Hunt confessing on his deathbed to a role in the conspiracy to assassinate JFK.
Where's that?
The deathbed confession.
So he's
Yeah.
working with the Soviets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Shame he didn't say, get a dictaphone, so I can tell you this and you can record it and tell the world.
Well, that's what a deathbed confession is.
So where is it then?
If you're against the CIA, though, why are you taking out the man that...
Did they record that? Yeah, it's a recording. They did record.
So where is this recording?
Well, he's probably available online. I'd imagine on YouTube.
So if this is a recording of a guy giving an affidavit essentially on his deathbed.
It's a deathbed confession, I mean.
And why would a man that spent his life trying to discredit the CIA kill Kennedy? He wants to get rid of the CIA.
Maybe this is why
unless he flip-flopped.
This is why he spent his life trying to discredit the CIA, maybe, because he was working with the CIA within the assassination period and then thought, oh shit, I was duped. Bastards! I'll get them back!
Maybe.
You never know.
Alright, last one, isn't it?
Yep.
Aristotle Onassis, Greek shipping magnate.
Never heard of him.
Well, he married Jackie after this.
Oh, did he?
She became Jackie Onassis. So after JFK's death, his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy, would marry Aristotle Onassis 5 years later.
What a name.
Fantastic name, isn't it? Aristotle Onassis. I call my kid Aristotle.
It's a good job you're not going to have kids anytime soon.
Aristotle Optimus Prime Carter.
Oh my god.
Apparently he became obsessed with Jacqueline even when she was married to JFK, and he would often host her on his boat in Greece. Conspiracy theorists believe that Onassis funded the assassination of JFK so he could be with Jacqueline. He even offered to give Jackie $3 million to replace the Kennedy Trust Fund she would lose if she ever remarried.
Fine.
Wow, what will a man do for love?
Well,
Have a husband assassinated if you're a wealthy shipping magnate?
It's
Maybe
been
hiring
yeah.
maybe hiring Woody Harrelson's dad?
That's
Not
what
Woody
I-
Harrelson. Is it
yeah.
Woody Harrelson? Yeah.
Hell of a
Yeah.
story, then running off with Aristotle. Could be a hell of a film, couldn't it? All these conspiracies a bit mishmashed into one.
Yeah. Could be.
Maybe this is why she seemed relatively calm.
Oh, I don't think she seemed calm. I don't think
She was not calm.
She wasn't calm.
I think she was scrambling over the boot.
She went to hospital with her husband's brains in her hand.
She wasn't hysterical, though, was she?
She was not hysterical.
That's what you mean.
I think shell shock probably played a part in that.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah,
was
we-
just playing a bit of a joke on the fact that she was clearly shell-shocked and quite... Like, I'm not talking at the time it happened. I'm talking about when they got to hospital, things like that, and she just kind of sat there, stood there, and just kind of looking into space. You know what I mean? She weren't in hysterics, crying, broken down in the corner like most people would be. So I was just...
Different people react differently.
Yeah. I was playing on that basically. So she was a cold-hearted bitch, really. And she had a part in it. Oh my god! There we go. There's another one.
I
She was
can't see
actually
this
part
one.
of it.
I can't see this one myself. It's
Nah.
a bit extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think
Murdering
this
the president of the United States so you can get with
one.
his
Just so you
wife.
can get your leg over.
I don't know.
And
Well,
it's-
he's a wealthy Greek magnate. He can have anyone he wants.
He was Jackie.
he's got enough money to have.
And he's got enough money to have Woody Harrelson's dad. Or the
I
CIA.
do like the Woody Harrelson's dad bit. I reckon it's him hired by the CIA.
Oh, you're mishmashing the theories
Yeah.
there.
Working alongside. What's his tits?
Oswald. Yeah.
Also a CIA asset.
Yep.
We're linking it all in.
That's it.
Right, it's time for conclusions, to be fair.
That's me.
And the umbrella
So,
man just lifted the umbrella as a sign to go ahead.
No, he was just ginger.
No, he was a part of it as well.
So,
It's
Mike,
that morning,
you're going
that's-
for...
Sasquatch.
Break it down.
Sasquatch.
Right.
Would
So,
you?
Mike, you're with CIA hiring Woody Harrelson's dad.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald, also a CIA
Yeah.
asset. Between the two of them,
Mhm.
they assassinate
That's
JFK,
what I'm going
hired by the CIA.
Yep.
No gunman on the grassy knoll?
Yeah, he's on the grass.
He's not in the building opposite.
Oh, is that what that said?
Yeah, they reckon he was in the building opposite.
Ah.
Opposite Oswald.
Well, maybe there was 3 shooters.
There was
Maybe
3
there
shots.
was.
They weren't taking any chances. They got covered from all angles.
It would
Tramp
make, you
on
know
the
what?
grassy
It
knoll.
would make sense, you know. To be
Yeah.
fair, you have as many shooters as you can, couldn't you?
Yeah. Or they might have been all hired by different people.
You think it's like that Spider-Man meme where he's pointing at 4 different Spider-Men?
Yeah, it's like the CIA, they hired the tramp, the mob hired Woody Harrelson Sr., and then the Soviets hired Oswald. That's what I'm going with. All three just happened to be there at the same time.
Then there's loads of pointing fingers after, just going, oh, it was them, it was them.
I got the kill shot.
Alright, Pete, what do you think's most likely?
Oh, well, fuck me, what a brain fuck this is. I think the most likely and the most plausible is a mix between two. There is two. I'm 50-50 with two. So, accidental.
Yeah.
I just
The
think
AR.
they'd have come out with it if it was accidental. I
No,
think.
they wouldn't, because it's such a big fucking blunder. The CIA
No.
killed. They
Well,
killed
you're
their
looking-
own president.
You're looking at the Secret Service, it's probably going to be disbanded. All those
The
guys'
se-
careers are over.
The Secret Service.
They're like,
could
no,
not-
no, wasn't us. Wasn't
They-
us,
yeah.
guys.
They could not be shown to have killed their own fucking president, the person they're protected. That would just be such a fucking shambles. It's a lot easier to pin it on the fucking dick who actually did try to kill him anyway,
Alright.
but missed. So I think that's 50%. The other 50% is, I do think, potentially the CIA hired Oswald, and potentially brand new evidence for me. But on this brand new evidence that's been presented to me, I'm quite liking Woody Harrelson's dad. No,
I love it.
Why else was he this professional fucking assassin
With business
dressed-
cards. With business cards.
arrested, dressed as a tramp?
Dodgy as fuck.
And there was 3 tramps in around the area, underneath, around the bridge and shit like that. So, was he something to do with it? Could well have fucking been. And then, obviously, Sasquatch was also hired by the CIA. he was the blob in the bushes.
So which percentage of your 100 is this? Cause
No, he was part
you
of
had
the CIA
50
one.
Oh, he was in the CIA.
Oh, he's part of the CIA.
Sasquatch
man.
is in the
So
CIA.
This is why
Was
this-
Bigfoot overseeing the operation?
Bigfoot works for the
He's
CIA,
a
mate.
Bigfoot. Lee Harvey orders, I'm going to take the shot. Give you permission. What's a Wookiee noise? Do a Wookiee noise, Mike.
Oh,
Well, this is why.
That's it. That's it. That's the one.
And this is why there's so many government cover-ups of Bigfoot, because they don't want to know.
Fuck me,
They
that's
don't want it
fantastic.
to come out that
You know what,
Bigfoot was part of it.
You've blown my mind wide open now. I'm like, my mind is just like the universe, the stars shooting around, there's nebulas. I'm just like, wow.
No, minus the Sasquatch bit. In all seriousness,
What?
In all seriousness, no. I'm with CIA, one way or another.
Pete, I'm writing a book on that theory
It's a good one, actually, isn't it?
because no one's done Sasquatch yet.
another thing about the CIA, why did they insist on having an ex-CIA guy on the Warren Commission to steer it in the way they wanted to?
And this was it.
To
The way
go.
they took control
Oswald was
over
a patsy.
the autopsy, things like that. The Secret Service. I think it was all orchestrated. I think there's a real fucking good chance, which is why the autopsy wasn't allowed to be done in Texas. They had to take her back to Washington so they could do it so fucking secretly and privately, get rid of all the fucking brain fragments because, well,
Probably
they
privately, looked like a
disappeared.
party, didn't it?
No, privately in the sense that every person in that room
Was
were
paid
all
off.
known.
We're all quite
They-
happy he was dead.
They all knew quite happily that yes, he's dead, brilliant, the plan worked, or oh shit, we've killed the president, oh fuck, we need to make sure nobody ever discovers this, remove the brain fragments because they don't want to see AR-15 fucking rounds in there, blah blah blah.
I don't want to see anybody's rounds in there because that would go back to
Well, yeah,
one of
this
the
is it.
guns, wouldn't it?
This is it. The gun that Lee Harvey Oswald shot, there wouldn't have been the round. It could have been lodged in the brain, but more than likely not because of the kind of bullet it was.
No,
So-
yeah, Oswald would have been through and through with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
in Canada.
So if it had just been a hole, 2 holes in his head, more plausible. He got 2 shots into him. That wasn't the case. They got rid of the brain. Why did Bobby take the brain? Who fucking knows?
I don't think Bobby did take the brain. I think Bobby
That's
knew about it.
apparently what happened
Yeah.
to it, wasn't it? So
Yeah, I don't think Bobby even knew what was happening with that.
no.
And you're never gonna. Once that body's in the casket and it's embalmed
Mm.
and it's in the ground, no one's digging that up to look at it again. No one's digging up JFK's grave, are they?
There's too
Let's
many
face
question marks around the autopsy for me. Like I say, getting rid of the brains so there's no obvious traces of the fragments, etc. That to me tells me fucking cover up, because you've done it. Whether it was accidental Secret Service or planned CIA, one of them two.
Where's the
And
brain
I'm
of
with Mike
JFK?
with-
What's it mean it was now?
Yeah.
And I'm with
But-
Mike, that sort of theory we sort of put together. I'm with that, you know.
Well,
Hi, mate.
For,
You still
I'm
go
on
for
that
the
one as
second
well.
shooter.
I'm on
Well,
that
I
one as
think,
well,
yeah,
with
there was- yeah.
Harrison's dad and
A
that.
grassy knoll.
yeah,
Woody Harrelson.
yeah.
Alright, well, my final...
Woody Harrelson, his dad.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's dad, yeah.
He was probably about 4 at the time.
Hey, who knows? Could be the Tiger Woods of professional assassins. Well done, son.
What's that
Headshot. First time.
What's that film with the French guy when he teaches the
Leon.
young girl?
Leon.
Leon, that's it. Leon, brilliant film.
Yes.
Equivalent to that, just started him even younger.
Exactly. It's for silly sight serving. Anyway, at the gate, so he's shooting that wolf and he's 5. Yeah, I mix a couple of theories. I think Oswald certainly got the wounding shot. I think he was there. I think he fired the shot. I think he fired 2 and missed 1. I think he fired 3 and missed and hit once.
3? You think he
Sorry,
fired
2.
a third?
No, he fired 2. He fired 2. He got 1
I
hit,
think
1
he fired
miss.
2.
I think he was a CIA asset.
Yep.
In return for some money and his wife and children not being deported back to the USSR,
Yeah.
which is a big fear of his.
Because he wasn't
because
allowed
he
in.
wouldn't be allowed to go. And
Yeah.
regardless of what a twat he was, he did love his wife and kids in some way. I mean, he beat his wife, but he loved his kids. He loved his wife too. He wasn't going to get any better. Anyway, sitting on with Lee Harvey Oswald, he's a twat. And then I think you have the accidental discharge. I think it's a mixture of the two. CIA hired Oswald to at least attempt an assassination, and I think the security guard, the Secret Service guy, George Hickey, finished the job for him by accident.
Or was it accidental?
No, I
Did
think it
Hickey
was. I
do
think
it?
it's. Yeah, I think it's something that is really plausible, and I think the
Yeah.
ballistic science behind it,
That's what got
Matches
me
up.
for that.
the exploding, the flangeable bullet, the different types of rounds used. JFK's got that back brace, and that takes everything into account, the way his body reacts, because he's
Yeah.
bolt upright. If you think about it, when Oswald hits him with the second shot, he should slump to the side. Anyone else would. You wouldn't sit bolt upright waiting for the next one. You're using that back brace, he can't move.
Yeah.
He should slump onto Jackie's lap. That round
He
fired
should
by
be
Hickey
taking cover,
misses
shouldn't he?
him.
I don't know. I just don't think that they go to that much bother with trying to cover it up.
It's their careers, it's their livelihoods, it's the
I-
service.
Reputation of the
How
US.
powerful are they? Can they get?
Secret Service, they guard the president.
Yeah, I know. But
They're-
can they get all these things done?
Their badge, the Secret Service badge, is like it's probably 3rd best in the US, or was at the time. If you go like CIA, FBI, Secret Service, there's a top 3 of brass shields you're gonna have shoved in your face. It's probably 3rd.
They can't organise the autopsy, so it doesn't get done. Can they organise washing out the car of all the?
They did it anyway, and no one questioned it. That's another thing. They washed out the car. These guys are on the lash until 4 in the morning. No one was reacting properly, and no one could have stopped anything happening anyway. Because at best they're massively hungover, and at worst they're still a bit drunk.
So they've held all the files of the government all this time just for that.
The Secret Service is a much bigger entity now than it was then. You've got Secret Service. You've got 3 levels of Secret Service now. You've got the guys that protect the president.
Well, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, if they come out and say it,
Then the whole
thing just falls up. No, it doesn't.
they replace it with someone else. They reform it.
No, people just say, look, it was an accident. It was a terrible, terrible
Yeah.
accident. People are quite forgiving. They're not going to say, get rid of the Secret Service and...
Not after 60 years
Oh,
of eyes, though.
but no, but the thing is, I suppose the guys at the time weren't looking at that. They were like, "Hey, we just fucked up. I got a mortgage and a family. I got to protect myself. Got to protect my career." And they made the decision on the spot. Now you know what, the autopsy's not being done here. There's a president.
Well, those guards
Oh,
in the
they thought that-
motorcade will have had higher clearance than anybody else. anybody else.
Yeah, but they don't have the power to make the decisions, do they?
But
He
they,
could make-
but they made the
The
decisions.
senior agent at the time, who would be a senior agent amongst Texas mortuary staff,
Whether
the
they have the
hospital,
power to or not, they
he's
still
got,
did.
he's flashing a shield.
But the CIA.
That's a lot.
would
That's
be
a
like-
big thing in America at that point.
But then the CIA would have been like let off the hook.
If they took the shot at it was Oswald was
I
meant
think
to
you pin it on him.
Oswald was meant to either hit that fucking next one or at least try and shoot JFK. Maybe there was a second shooter. Maybe he never had the fucking opportunity to shoot.
A couple of contingencies. If he
But
misses,
it happened.
you
Yeah,
gotta
maybe.
go. If he
The-
misses,
but
you gotta go.
Maybe the real conspiracy is there is no conspiracy. It's a cover up.
It was just the accidental death. cover-up.
Accidental death, and they don't. They're bodyguards. That's their fucking job. That's their profession. That's their calling. That's who they are. And if you've lost your VP, your very VIP, because of an accidental discharge, oh fucking hell! How bad does that look? That's your sole reason for being there is to save his fucking life. You don't need an assassin. You shot him yourselves.
There we go then.
Yeah. That's what I subscribe to. I understand that that's my opinion, listener.
Yeah.
You can, same as all of our opinions are,
Yeah.
right? I think it's a mix. I think we're all kind of in a broad agreement, to be
Yeah.
fair. We all think the CIA had something to do with it. Oswald probably was a CIA patsy, in our opinion, I think we can say.
Yeah.
And that second shot we all kind of disagree on, but we all know,
He definitely
Third
wasn't
shot.
a lone shooter, was he?
no, I don't think there was a lone shooter. I disagree with the Warren Commission.
Yeah, can I just say that it was a complete fuck up from the start.
Yeah.
Look, the chain of evidence and all that shit bollocksed it all up, and the Warren report was a farce.
The greatest lie perpetrated on the American people, I've heard it described by
Yeah.
some historians.
Well, democratically elected leader, they're bumping him off.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
on that note,
9/11's the biggest lie.
well, okay, up to 9/11, the Warren Commission was the greatest lie perpetrated on the American people. And on that bombshell,
Yes.
that ends our JFK three-part. I don't think we've done a three-parter since very much back in the day when we did fucking Jack the Ripper.
No, did 9/11.
Three-part.
Oh, 9/11 was three-part, of course, yeah. Either way, it's been a long. You've been privileged to listen to a rare cutting to the bull in the Coast Through the
That was a
Apocalypse
big topic, innit?
three-parter. Well, I've been Ben. Don't do the Flavour Raid. Don't join a cult. If you do become president,
Do as you're told.
put the roof on top of your head. Put the roof on the car. Oh, we haven't finished quite yet, actually. Got very quick coincidences
Mm.
between him and Lincoln. Okay, so coincidence between the two most famous US presidents getting shot.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln elected to Congress in 1846. JFK elected to Congress in 1946. Lincoln elected president 1860. JFK 1960. Both concerned with the civil rights. Both wives lost children while living in the White House. Both presidents shot on a Friday. Both presidents shot in the head.
Mm.
Ooh.
Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, born in 1908.
What?
John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, born in 1939. Both assassins known by their three names. Both names composed of 15 letters.
What?
Lincoln was shot at the theatre named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln, made by Ford.
How can all these line up?
We're in a
honestly?
simulation. It's an explanation.
Lincoln was shot in a theatre and his assassin ran and hid in a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse and his assassin ran and hid in a theatre. Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials. Here's the kicker. A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. a week before Kennedy was shot,
He was in
Marilyn Monroe. Young, dumb and full of cum, he was not.
That's fucked up, isn't it?
Mental, isn't it?
I,
And that's legit. That's something I remember reading as a child, and it's always stayed with me. I used to read some odd books when I was a child. Yeah, I was, it was like, wow, that's massively insane.
Yeah.
The car gets me.
yeah, the Ford.
So, Benjamin, would you like to read Dennis the Menace this week?
No, Mummy, I'd like to read some conspiracies about Abraham Lincoln.
I was a very inquisitive child. I read all I could find.
And you were also a London pickpocket.
/ chimney sweep.
According to me.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Please, Governor. I don't like the Beano.
I used to have the Beano and the dandy, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I used to like the free sweets.
Yeah, they were great. Somewhere in a trunk of my dad's loft is a trunk full of Beanos and dandies, and some of them still have the original sweets stuck to the front.
Never.
Yep.
What sort of kid were you?
I know.
I never used to like to
Not a
rip
normal one.
because they were sellotaped to a very thin sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I never
Right,
and
yeah.
you'd always rip the front page taking the sweets off. So I left the sweets on.
Why didn't you
Strange
just
child.
open the sweet wrapper whilst it was stuck to it, eat the sweet, and just leave the empty wrapper?
Because
stuck
now it's
down?
got an original sweet stuck to it, it'll be worth a fucking fortune.
That's a good point.
Oh, some
Soon-
90s sweets.
Yeah, from a
Like
soon to be
refreshers
rich.
and refreshers and things like that.
It was it was like a refresher bar.
Yeah, they were full bars as well.
Yeah, they were like
the full
probably about
size,
9 inches long.
full size refresher bar.
No,
nearly as
Claire, it's not girthy enough. Just because it's 9 inches long. It's just a thin bar of licorice and stuff.
big. And on that bombshell,
Bombshell. I've been Ben. Thanks so much for listening. Don't in the Flavour Aid, don't join a cult, and don't believe that Oswald acted alone.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
And I've been Claire, thanks for listening. Keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears, guys.
and I've been Pete. Don't trust the CIA. Simple as.